Hello, welcome back. Today we are finally doing a houseplant tour. I'm gonna show you all around the apartment and show you where we keep all of our plants. The majority of them are in the living room area, but I have a couple on the other side of the apartment, so I will show you those. I'm not doing like an apartment tour. I'm just showing you where the plants are in the apartment. I wanted to do this since I started my channel, which was back in August. We're now in November, but I particularly want to do it right now because we're about to head into winter and I want to capture my plants as they are now and how they're looking. And then I can kind of come back in like the spring and get all sad about how many plants have lost some leaves or how many plants have died throughout winter. Oh, that's morbid, isn't it? I just want to capture my plants for what they're looking like right now as we head into winter 2022. And hopefully there won't be lots of death come springtime. But let's get to it. Here is my houseplant tour. Okay, this is our front door. So as you walk in, to the right is the living room and the kitchen, which we will explore in a minute. This door is like a storage cupboard. And then this is the kind of spare bedroom. It's got a wardrobe in it and stuff. This is the bedroom, the actual bedroom. And then that there is our bathroom. In the spare bedroom, there's obviously a desk and you can see this plant here. This is my philodendron, Hartley philodendron. There's the lime green one and the original like green one. I'm not gonna go into this room fully because in this corner here is the shop and I don't want that to be a part of the film. There's like loads of boxes and packaging and stuff, so just there you go. It's the most neglected plant, I'd say, but it's hanging there. I think it's all right. And in the bedroom here is my ZZ plant. I have this crocodile fern and this maidenhair fern. As you can probably tell, it's really dark in here. The windows are north facing and they're tiny, like they're really small windows. Oh, it's really struggling with the light. My goodness, we like completely lost focus there for a while. You can see some of my plant storage over there. I really want to like do an overhaul of all my storage because I'm supposed to keep everything in here, but it's just spilling out. But yeah, very dark in here. So the ZZ's been in here for a couple of years now. It used to be bigger. I have separated it and I have some of it in work. And it's also pushed out new growth here. So I don't think it's too unhappy with the light conditions. It is a really grey, dreary day today. So it is darker in here than it would normally be. Like it is usually a little bit lighter, but probably not by much. The crocodile fern I've only had for like a month and I don't think it's massively happy. The maidenhair fern, this is like my 4th attempt and this is the longest I've ever kept one alive, so can't be too unhappy, right? But yeah, those 4 plants are the only ones that are not in like the living room area. So we will head there now. So this is what you kind of see when you're stood in the doorway. I suppose the first couple of plants that you come to and you see are these ones. Look at my elbow from this angle. Doesn't it look ridiculous? It's nice that all of the leaves are pretty much, apart from these ones at the top, all of them are facing forwards, but this back bit just looks so silly. But let's start with this one. So this is my Monstera Borsigiana albo. I have had this, it's 2 plants. I think I've had them both for about 2 years now and they've grown really well. This is one of my favourite leaves. I love that like minty green kind of colour. When I first got them, they were like down here. So they've grown really well. I've thought about chopping it several times and then I never do. I don't know what I'm going to do with it. Obviously it is getting pretty tall. It's kind of just secured by a cocoa coir pole. I don't know what I'm gonna do with it. One day I probably will give it the chop, but that day is not today. Below it I have an Alocasia Regal, I don't know, Regal, I don't know how you say it. It has a pup in it just there. It is absolutely leaning towards the light. It would definitely prefer to have more light, but I haven't got a position for it closer to the window. And I might end up taking this one into work. And that's the same story for a couple of plants in this area. But yeah, that's that corner. As we turn around, this is this scene. So down here on the floor, we have a couple of other plants I might take into work. This is Rhaphidophora decursiva, which I've taken cuttings of, which you'll see in a minute. This is a variegated Pilea peperomioides. It's not highly splashy, which I'm sad about. I would rather it be a bit splashier, although these, like this leaf's quite cute, and this one here. And if you can see, there's a little glass jar there, just here. And it's got some fishbone cactus cuttings in it. But those three and the Alocasia are probably going to go into work. So as we come up onto the TV unit, we have my big mother Pilea peperomioides. This plant I've had since it was literally like this big. I'll try and put a photo on the screen of how small it was when I first got it. I got it from when I was on placement. One of the staff in the teams that I was working with gave it to me, and we bonded over plants. It was great. So next to it is a coconut palm, and I bought this in IKEA. If you've watched my IKEA tour video, you will have seen me buy it. It is working on a new leaf, can you see? And it had started working on that new leaf when I bought it, but it was down, like kind of down here, and it's grown up and it is starting to kind of open out, which I'm really pleased about, because after I bought it I did some research and everywhere was kind of saying that, you know, they need really hot, bright sun. They don't do very well as houseplants, so I'm just pretty proud that it seems happy enough to be pushing out that new leaf still. And next to it is probably the oldest plant in my collection, my Monstera deliciosa. I'm pretty sure it is a large form. Like I'm pretty sure I got it ages ago, either 2018 or 2019. It was a small, much smaller plant for £9 in IKEA. So I know some people say that IKEA plants aren't, you know, they're not very great, they're not going to last very long, but this cost me £9. How many years ago? Maybe like 4 years ago, and it's alive, it's doing its thing. It's looking great, I think. I do keep thinking about chopping it down because honestly, don't know how I'm going to get it out of this apartment if we ever move. It does not fit through doors very easily. So I probably will chop it at some point, but that will be a very sad day. I'm not ready for it to be today. Below it I have a very sad looking Philodendron gloriosum. I shared in my November favourites and updates video why I think it looks like this, so I'm not gonna say the whole story again, but I am gonna just appreciate the pinky sinus on the new leaf. I need to give it a clean. I hate it when they come out with these like shiny bits. Below the Philodendron gloriosum is my variegated Maranta, how do you say it, like Lucumnura? It has a lot of crispy leaves. I think that's partly due to me letting it dry out too much, possibly partly because I do use tap water with this one, but it's always had tap water, so I kind of think that maybe it's not just to do with the tap water, but I think it's because I let it dry out too much and because it's so white now. I don't really know. It is just getting more and more white, which is really pretty, and I quite like these like lime kind of leaves. I don't really know what I'm going to do with it. It's every winter it does this. It carries on growing, but it puts out tiny little leaves, and there's these two down here that are just so tiny. And every year in the spring I like chop those little ones off, and then it just carries on growing big ones. It is really pretty. I kind of miss like these kind of coloured ones, like with the splashes of the variegatedness in them. And when they first come out, like the spots on them are usually a bit pink, so you can kind of see it on this one. And I quite like that, and it's looking a bit like a hot mess, isn't it? Look at this leaf here. Bit of a hot mess, but yeah, that's that one. That's this corner of the apartment. So if I swing round, just a note on these windows. So I've been spoiled with these windows. I absolutely love them. Like this is the door to the balcony, window up there, but floor to ceiling windows, I have been absolutely spoiled, because now whenever I'm in a house with like, you know, normal house size windows, it feels really dark. Like these windows have just absolutely spoiled me, and I think it's the reason I've been able to have so many plants kind of like pulled back. Like you'll see in a minute in the kitchen, I've got a Syndapsus that is like probably more than 10 feet away from these windows, and it is living its best life. But these windows they're south facing, so the sun rises over here, it travels across. In the winter the sun's really low, and in the summer it is really, really high, but we get daylight all day, every day, all year round. Obviously you can see it's a bit of a cloudy day today, so it's not the brightest, but it is still quite light in here. I am in the UK, so I'm Northern Hemisphere, so south facing windows are the ones that get the most light. If you're in the Southern Hemisphere, I guess it'd be the other way around. Northern windows are probably the preferred window. Another thing to note on these windows, because they are south facing and they're unobstructed, it gets really hot in here when the sun is shining. So even in the winter, if it's like a really sunny day and it's not cloudy, it can get really hot in here. In the summer it is sweltering, and I think my plants actually prefer it when it's cooler. So I don't like it. I mean, I don't like it when it's really hot in the summer, but my plants definitely struggle too. So I'm seeing more growth now than I am in the summer, I think. But anyway, let's stop talking. Let's go and have a little look at what else we've got. On our tables here, I have my Oxalis Plum Crazy. I've spoken recently about this in my November favourites video. That's another dead leaf. This is, it's closed. It still needs a drink. I filmed my November favourites video yesterday, and I was saying this plant is thirsty, which is why it's not fully open, and I didn't give it a drink, so I still need to give it a drink. But I love this plant. The more light you give it, the darker the pink is, and it's just, I think it's stunning. I love the kind of contrasting colours in it. So pretty. And then here, now this is a Hoya, and it's technically not mine anymore. I sold it to my friend Hattie, and we just haven't had the chance to meet up for her to have it. It didn't have a name, and when I bought it, I wondered if it was some kind of like Chelsea because of these shaped leaves. And it's kind of like, I don't, like this one's kind of cut, which is quite cool. There's a couple that it dried out a little bit between the watering, and they're not as happy. I don't really know what it is, but I'm assuming it's some kind of Carnosa hybrid. It's quite cool. I really need to get it to Hattie. On the next windowsill, so in this corner here, we have this absolute giraffe of a plant. And this is actually off of my my spiral ginger, which is just there. This was a shoot that grew up. It literally just shot up and then started pushing out fully green leaves, and it's just started putting out some variegated leaves. So I'm thinking I might chop it like here, root it, and then pop put it in with the mother plant and kind of get rid of this ridiculously long thing. It's ridiculous. On the other side of the windowsill we have my variegated Apuntia. So I'll show you this bit because it's obviously very backlit. That whole section is fully variegated and I don't really know what's going to happen with it. But this one's nice and splashy. Turn it around. It's cute. I bought this the weekend me and Steve got married last year. So it's a special one. It'll always be in the collection. This pad and this pad are ones that's put out in my care. So it's just so wonky. It kind of leans as well, like you see it's leaning. I don't really know too much about cacti. I don't have I think that's the only one I have in my collection. We're still learning about each other. It needs more water than I thought it did, which is interesting, but there we go. Next to it, I have a pretty unhappy, this is an Alocasia Sabrina, the black stem version, and it got sunburnt in the summer because I didn't move it away from this window, and as I've said, south facing, full sun, it just cooked. And I thought it was just going to go dormant and just be a bit sad until next spring when I was hoping it might come back. But I noticed the other day, look! In fact, I noticed this yesterday. The other day I noticed this yesterday. It's pushing out a new leaf. So hopefully it's not going to go dormant this winter and it will just keep pushing some growth out. And you might have noticed here is a really long string of hearts. And I think this one would probably prefer to not be in the window, but I haven't really got anywhere else to keep it. It is very long. I might end up chopping it, but it's just the non-variegated one. I think it's living an okay life in the window, I think. And then we've got the plant shells, which is a scene you will have seen quite a lot here. I'm going to do that bit last, so I'm going to swing you around. This is our kitchen area. This plant here is Steve's. This is his Calathea, is it like Dotty? Something like that. He's grown her from a much smaller plant. It's his one and only plant. He's quite proud of her. And then this is my Philodendron 69686. This is the new leaf it's put out recently. I really just love the shape of them, aren't they cool? I need to fill up the moss pile a little bit more. I've just ordered some from Soil Ninja, so very happy to get that and kind of fill in this gap here and hopefully get some really big growth going. This is the plant that I filmed making that moss pole and I really struggled. So I'll link that above if you want to go and watch me struggle making that moss pole. It's the first one I ever did. Above that I have my Philodendron Micans, and oh, I adore this plant so much. It is so velvety. Where's a really good leaf? Like this one's quite nice and big. Is it focused? Like just look at the velvet. Isn't it stunning? And in the, I mean not so much in the winter, you can kind of see newer leaves, but in the summer the leaves come out so coppery red. They're just beautiful. This one used to be kind of on the wall here, but I've taken it off, but kept it in a kind of similar position to like kind of distance to the window, and it seems quite happy. I have tucked up some of the longer bits, like some of these kind of oh sorry, I wasn't really showing you. Some of these longer bits dangle all the way down here, and I just wanted to lift them up a little bit. But I could definitely propagate it. Look at this. Look at this aerial root. Oh, I got cut off. Look at that aerial root. Look at the size of that. But yeah, that's my Philodendron Micans, definitely a favourite. I love that plant so much. Up on this shelf here is, this is a Scindapsus pictus argyrius. Just kind of, you know, looking cute, living its life. And this is the Syndapsus I was telling you about that lives like, what, 10, 12 feet away from the window. It's, oh, what is this type? I can't think of what the name is. I'll put it on the screen if I remember, but I think it's, what is it, like 3? It's either 3 or 4 growth points, and it's just filling up this corner. And it looks amazing. Like the distance from the window doesn't seem to have affected the leaf growth. I'm trying to find what the last one was on that one. I don't know. But yeah, the distance from the window doesn't seem to have affected the leaf growth. They're all still pretty big in size. Like this is a new one here. And it's just living its best life, getting dusty in the corner, but I'll give it a good shower at some point. And the only other plant I have in the kitchen is this one. This is a, I can't remember the botanical name, but it's a fern leaf cactus, and it is in water that oh, absolutely needs to be changed. But to be honest, I never change the water in my propagations. I just fill them up with fresh water. It's just algae. The roots in there are really healthy. I just need to actually repot it, or well, give it a pot. But it's been in water for a really long time and put out this whole new shoot since being in water, so it must be happy enough, right? Right, let's swing you round. So this is the main area where the plants are, and we are going to go through all of them now. This one here on the top of our fridge freezer is a Epipremnum or Pothos Marble Queen. She has been in my collection. She's probably the second oldest, and you can tell I've let her dry out a few too many times because of this whole bold section here. So I will propagate her at some point. I'll just chop it, reroot a section, plant it back in the pot, and just kind of start again. But I love, love, love the variegation on this plant. It is just beautiful. Like, I love that there are some white speckled leaves, some more lime green ones. It's just stunning. Like, look at this leaf. Like, how pretty is that? So pretty. And it is really, really, really long. Like, I don't actually know how tall our fridge freezer is, but this guy's nearly, I mean, it's not far from the floor. But aren't they pretty? They're such nice leaves. Also behind her, up in this corner here, is my Philodendron Brazil. I didn't really know where else to put it, but it seems quite happy just kind of tucked away, and it fills in a bit of a gap, which I quite like. Okay. Up here is a begonia, and I cannot remember the name of this one, but I'll have it on the screen. I know I've got the tag in it still. I do really like spotty angel wing style begonias, and this one isn't. It's forever home. I need to reorganize the whole shelf, but I just put it up there. It kind of fills in a gap. Looks quite nice. On the same level is my Anthurium pallidiflorum. This is its newest leaf, and I love the little kind of indents here that happened when it was unfurling. Below my pallidiflorum is my Anthurium clarinervium, which I adore. I love this plant. I love the heart-shaped leaves. I love how dark it is and how silvery the veining is. But as you can see, it doesn't adore me at the moment. It is unhappy. I've had it for a really long time, and I don't really know why it's suddenly so unhappy. But we'll figure it out. We'll get there. I hope. If I can, I'll find a picture of what it used to look like, because it used to be huge. On the same level, I have my 2 air plants, which are no longer in their homemade DIY plant stands because they kept falling out. And if I'm completely honest, I put them in some water to soak and accidentally left them overnight. And even though they both look alive, I don't really know if they are. I really don't know if they are. Like, they kind of feel like a little bit more like hollow than they used to. But saying that, that one has got, there's like a new leaf starting in here, which you can't see because it's not focusing on. Like just there, can you see that extra little bit there? So maybe that one's not dead. I'm not so convinced about this one though. And over here, filling in a little gap at the back, like honestly, all the plants here are not, they're not in specific places because that's where I want them to be. They're just there because that's just where they've been put. I absolutely need to rearrange this. But behind here I have a Haworthia. I don't know the full name of it, but that was gifted to me by my now sister-in-law when she asked me to be her bridesmaid, so that'll be another one that I'll always have in the collection, and I need to find a better position for it. So below that shelf is this is my Anthurium papilolaminum. I absolutely love this guy so much, and I'm really hoping to glow it up a bit next year. It is definitely not the happiest it's been, and it is losing, this leaf is dying off, which you might be able to kind of see that. I would really like it if these two leaves were like a little bit more kind of, you know, together, but it didn't want to do that. So it's fine. This cataphyll isn't doing too much, but that's where the next leaf will come out. So hopefully it'll kind of come out and sit here and fill in that big gap. It looks like they've had an argument. Next to it I have, oh, a thirsty, another Syndapsus. It is definitely thirsty. I don't know what this is. Like, it's got some fully silver leaves and then some that are more like the Argyrius, but it's all one plant, so I don't know. I think I bought it as a silvery Anne, but I don't believe it. I don't know what it is, but it's there and it's thirsty, so I need to give that a drink. Below them, oh, hang on, I've also got, this is a reverted cutting from the Oxalis Plum Crazy, so all of the leaves don't come out with the pink on them, they just come out with they just come out like a dark purple, black kind of leaf. It could definitely be potted up. There's a lot of roots in there. So, next shelf is a bit cluttered. Oh, I forgot. Behind the papilolaminum I have a variegated string of hearts, and she travels all the way down to the floor. So I probably need to find her a different space. So back to this shelf. This is my Alocasia Michaelixiana maxkowskii, or the green Frydek. I said in my November favourites that I thought it was going dormant, but it is putting out a new leaf, so not dormant. Next to it I have, oh, it's really struggling with the light. This is my Mojito Syngonium. I chopped this up recently in a video. It is rooting in water still. I think it's going to make a nice bushy Syngonium plant once it's rooted a bit more. Behind them, this one is my Alternantheria Party Time. I think that's how you pronounce it. It's a very pink plant. Every time I look at this plant, it just blows my mind that it's that pink, just naturally. Like, it just does its thing. I think it's amazing. I know it was really popular for a while in like 2019 or 2020, but I still really love it. So it's there, it's really easy going. And on the bottom shelf, we have my Lemon Lime Maranta, which is blooming. That's not focused. Focus. It really doesn't want to focus on this bloom, does it? Little purple blooms. Again, similar to the other Maranta, we've got some crispy leaves. I think it is more because I've let it dry out as opposed to the water being an issue. Some of the newer leaves are much happier. They haven't dried out, and it's still pushing out decent sized new growth, which is very nice. So that's that first shelving unit. And I think I'm going to do the cabinet last, so we'll move over to this next shelving unit. So at the top in a very dark corner is my Epiphyllum anguliger, the fishbone cactus, this one here. I've recently repotted this. I'm pretty sure it's my mental health repotting chat video that I repotted that one in. It's never bloomed for me. That is my goal. I would love it to bloom. And I noticed the other day, look at the way this bit of new growth's coming out. Like it's just done like a 90-degree angle, changed its mind. So next to it, this one here, that is a reverted burl marks, a variegated burl marks. You can see this leaf was a variegated one, and then all of the other leaves since have been fully green. It's a very, very rooted propagation that needs to be potted up. Next to it is my Hoya linearis, which is nice and long and still currently in bloom. So pretty and delicate. And if you've never touched one of these, their leaves are like fuzzy and they're very, very soft. So that's that top shelf. The next one down, this is my Anthurium forgetii, which is doing the weirdest thing with its like new growth. Like I've had to put this back in here to support, like I just don't know what, what it's doing. It's like it's trying to be a pendant Anthurium, like to dangle down, but I don't think it's supposed to. Behind my sign, just here, on the same shelf, is my Hoya polyneura, which seems really happy kind of in this corner, and I love it so much. I'm really happy with the way it's like growing and kind of cascading off the side there. Below those, we've got this shelf. This is my Anthurium magnificum verde, and if you've watched a few of my videos, you'll know that this leaf came out really, really red. So the emergent leaves are really red, and it's kind of hardened off to, I don't know if can I make it more daylight? It's really hard to show you. It's like not fully green. I mean, you can kind of see with the light behind it. It's almost like it's not hardened off, but it is. This is it hardened off. It's very strange, but I quite like it. It adds like a little colour here. There are two leaves behind it. This one is dying off and this one's not, but probably will soon, as it's not going to be getting much light from back there. This is a Dischidia ovovata watermelon Dischidia cutting that is very, very rooted and needs to be potted. Next to it is the variegated part of the burl marks, the variegated burl marks that reverted cutting came from. This is still very variegated and really pretty. Behind in this pot is this plant. This is my Thamatophyllum sprucianum, and one of its leaves goes up here as well. I'm really enjoying this one right now, and I like the way it kind of positions itself in this area. Next shelf down, I'm sorry the lighting's not very good. Let me see if I can brighten it a little bit. Ooh, that's blowing up the background. Ooh, sorry. The lighting's not very good because it's a dreary day. When I do my update in spring, when I do a house tour, when I do the houseplant tour in spring, it'll be better lighting, I'm sure. But we've got, this is my Pothos Enjoy, and Steve bought me this the day he proposed. I didn't, he bought it for me, and then we came home and he proposed to me. So that is another one that I will always have in my collection. I absolutely adore it. On this shelf as well, oh, you can't really, let me just bring it out. I've got a Wellfin Sansevieria. It's got a little pup in it. I know they're not called Sansevieria anymore and they're actually Dracana, but I refuse. I refuse to call them Dracana. And I've also got a very dusty begonia propagating. That's the same begonia that was up on that shelf up there. It used to sit kind of on our kitchen, like on the kitchen on the side, and one of the glasses got knocked and just kind of like karate chopped a few of the leaves off, so I'm propagating them there. On the floor in front of it is my variegated spiral ginger, which I'm loving it right now. Just look at the variegation on these leaves. Isn't it pretty? Like, I just absolutely adore it. Look at that spiral. So pretty and really easy, I think. And then I've got this, which is my Hoya Terrii. I think I said in my Hoya repotting trellis video that I didn't really know what I was doing with this one, but it is, that's not gonna fix, is it? It's putting out some new leaves. There's one down here as well. So it's happy enough kind of in this corner. This is also behind here is like my dump things that I know I'm gonna need, but I can't remember what to put away properly kind of corner. We've all got one, right? The variegated spiral ginger kind of covers it up a little bit. So that's that shelf. And now we're gonna go on to the cabinet. So if we start up top, I've got my Monstera Thai Constellation, which is just, oh, I love this plant so much. Just love it so much. Look at that variegation. So pretty. And it's pushing out its new leaf. So when it comes to the spring version of this video, that leaf will be out and I can't wait to see it. In front of it, I've got my Monstera Brazilian Common Form. And this is its newest leaf that it's put out in my care. Seems really happy. I think I say it every time I mention it, but the leaves are so much thicker, and the way these ones grow and the kind of the splits, like the fenestrations that they get, it does look really different to the green form. But sometimes it can be hard to tell, like especially at this stage. It doesn't really look too special, but it's very special to me. This here is a Philodendron gloriosum leaf that I'm planning, like I'm waiting for it to like dry out and crisp up, and then I'm going to soak it in water and make a skeleton leaf out. So it's just dying just there. Also on this top shelf, I've got my watering can that needs to be cleaned, and my these are the Rhaphidophora decursiva cuttings that I mentioned earlier. This one is very rooted and this one is sort of rooting, but I want to pop them together. I did pop this one up in just pure lacquer and it hated it. All the roots rotted. It had to reroot. So that's what's on top of the cabinet. I feel like it's not like refocusing now. Because of the light, it keeps struggling to like actually focus. Let's go in the cabinet. And this is the last thing, isn't it? This is the last bit I need to show you. Okay, right, I'm sorry about the LED lights. I'll try and not glare them at you. Let's just start in this corner. This is the Anthurium that I don't know how to pronounce. Anthurium argyrostatum yasuni. I call him Anthurium arg. And this is his new leaf. I'm really excited to see how big it's going to get. And yeah, and I hope it doesn't get too much taller, because it is just going to get stuck. I'm gonna have to chop and prop it, I think. That's that one. I've got a Albo variegated Syngonium in here, which I think I'm probably going to chop and prop at some point to make a bushy one. And behind that is this plant here, which is an Anthurium Houseplant. I'm not quite sure of the pronunciation, but I'll have it on the screen. I love heart-shaped leaves, and it kind of reminds me of a juvenile Monstera, like the Monstera deliciosa. These are its older leaves that it came to me with. Quite cute. But that new one, I don't think it's fully hardened off yet, but I think it's kind of reached its size. It's just not fully hardened. In front of those, I have this guy, which I think I repotted in the mental health and mental health repot and chat video as well. This was my Anthurium Doriaki crossed with a silver blush, and is it rooting? I can't see any new roots on it, but this root here looks like it's doing some growing, so hopefully it's happier than it was, because I really like this plant. Here is my Anthurium Mudianum. I think in the same video I did pot it up into like a tiny little perfume lid pot, and it just rotted. The roots that it had rotted, so I put it back into water, and there is some root growth in there, so trying again. And then one of my newest plants, my Anthurium peltigerum. I just love it so much. I've been told that these lose their roots really easily, so I'm a little bit worried, but can I get to focus on? It's changing every day, this little growth point here, so I'm really hopeful that it will grow. Up here, this is an Anthurium crystallinum seedling, and then next to it is my Anthurium warocqueanum, my queen Anthurium. Up here, these two are Anthurium beckerii seedlings. This is my Anthurium nigrolaminum GG. Down here is also a nigrolaminum GG. This is the stump from the Doriaki silver blush. This is my Anthurium sagittatum. Just look at that new leaf. One of my newer ones again. In front of that, I've got my absolute beauty, my philodendron Florida Beauty. I love this plant. I can't wait to glow it up. In front of that, I have my Anthurium dresslerii, which is working on a new leaf. Very cute. Behind the dresslerii, these are, what are they? Of a type of Anthurium seedlings. I'll put the name on the screen, I can't think of what it is. That's that top shelf. I have removed, so normally, like you see this ledge here, there would be another glass shelf which is stored here. But yeah, I've taken that out for my bigger plants. On the bottom shelf, we have my Anthurium villanorum, I think is the pronunciation. I'm still getting used to saying that word. Behind it, in this little, in this Tupperware bag, is some Alocasia fried acorns. The green one, not variegated. I wish they were the variegated ones. I definitely want one of those. This guy here is a reverted Florida Beauty. So I bought this one from Michaela, who sold me this one. And obviously she sold it to me as a reverted one, but I bought it with the hopes that maybe it might push out a variegated leaf, but it hasn't. But I still really love it. Like, I love the shape of these leaves. They're very cool. In here is an Anthurium truncicola. It's definitely a rehab, not doing much. Here is my Alocasia Florida Ghost, and it kind of comes over here. This is its newest leaf. Still very shiny with its coral pink stem. In front of that, I have not an Anthurium, a Hoya Daikie, which has just been moved into this cabinet, so I think it's kind of adjusting to its new environment. I wonder if I can show you. Can you see? I mean, it's not dusty, it's actually like fuzzy. It might be a little bit dusty, but it's got fuzzy, tiny little fuzzy hairs, and I really love it. Next to that is the Hoya that I don't know the name of. I don't know the name of, I can't find the name, and I feel awful. It was given to me by Joe from Philodendron Joe. Hoya, no ID, I don't know what it is. Next to that, if I can get the light glare off, that is my Hoya, my Croniana, maybe, I don't know, or Lacinosa, I don't know the difference. And then this one here is my Hoya catisii in the background. This one here is my Hoya obovata. And there's a very sad, this was an alocasia frydek as well. Obviously you can see this dead leaf just here. I think the corm still looks alive though, so there might be hope. So that's the cabinet. Okay, so that is all of my plants. There is one Hoya in the shop's grow tent. My Hoya Caspergii. That's not out yet, just because it was still pushing out those new leaves and I didn't want to take it out of the environment it was growing in to put it into a new one. I wanted it to finish pushing out those new leaves, which I think it is, so I might move it out soon, but that I think is the only plant I haven't shown you. It feels so good to finally have done that video. I don't know why I've been putting it off. It didn't take as long as I thought it was going to. But yeah, I'm excited to kind of look back at that in the spring and the summer and see maybe how far my plants have come. I'll think positive. Hopefully they'll be okay. Yeah, if you've got any questions about any of the plants, if you've got any questions about like how I care for them, let me know. I'm happy to do some more in-depth videos. I am planning on doing like an in-depth anthurium video for how I care for all of the anthuriums in my collection, and I'll probably do like a few other kind of more in-depth plants, but I think anthuriums are probably the ones I have, like the genus I have the most of in my collection at the moment. But yeah, any questions, put them in the comments, or you can message me on Instagram. Give this video a thumbs up if you enjoyed it, and subscribe if you haven't already. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in my next one. Bye!